Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to ask Larry Tribe to say a few words on behalf of the honorary degree recipients.
President Sexton, Provost McLaughlin, Professor Dorson, Mom, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great privilege to address you this morning on behalf of today's honorary degree recipients, and a special privilege to do so here in Yankee Stadium's final season, given that I have been an avid Red Sox fan for the past 50 years. If the walls of this historic stadium could talk, what a tale they would tell. Imagine the stories in streaming video. 37 of the 84 World Series. Babe Ruth's winning home run in April 1923, sadly defeating the Red Sox. Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, defeating Adolf Hitler's prizefighter Max Schmeling in June 1938. Muhammad Ali defeating Ken Norton to defend his heavyweight crown in September 1976. The great rally for Nelson Mandela on June 21, 1990, upon his release from decades in prison in South Africa's Robben Island. Billy Joel's rock concert here the next day. The sold-out concerts of U2 in '92 and Pink Floyd in '94. The memorial service in September 2001 for the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The masses celebrated here by Popes Paul VI, John Paul II, and Benedict XVI. To your grandchildren, today's ceremony will be part of the historic panorama I see in my mind's eye. But what is essential, as the Little Prince reminds us, is invisible to the eye. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What gives this place, this occasion, their beauty, are things unseen. Its history, our history. One runs the risk of weeping a little if one reflects deeply on what that history has meant for those who are here and for those of your classmates and your family and friends who have been taken from us in Iraq or in Afghanistan or on the streets of our cities since you first came to NYU. And so I ask you to reflect for a moment on the unique trajectory of life's events that has brought you to this time and place, and to think for a moment about the path that lies ahead. The great American poet Billy Collins painted what is for me an indelible picture of the past and the future when he called it nothing but an only child with two different masks. The cap and gown you wear today symbolizes those masks. As I reflected on what we five honorands have in common, the similarities that struck me initially were superficial ones. Each of us is an immigrant to the United States. Each of us hails from the humanities as opposed to the sciences. Each of us is over 40, some of us way over 40. What struck me on further reflection, though, was a deeper commonality. Great good fortune, what most would call lucky breaks. To come to this place today, Thomas Bergenthal, who calls himself the lucky child, was fortunate enough to have what it took to survive the concentration camps at Auschwitz and Sachsenhausen. Michael J. Fox is lucky that he has the constitution required to wrestle daily with the challenge of Parkinson's disease. Indra Nooyi is fortunate to have the intellect and personality needed to crash through and remain above a thick glass ceiling to master an American corporate environment without sacrificing her culture, her gender, or her motherhood. Ngugi wa Thiong'o had to endure colonial rule, transcend political imprisonment, and survive a violent and brutal physical attack on himself and his wife in Kenya just 5 years ago. An ideologically motivated attack threatening political liberty and exemplifying worldwide violence against women. And I had the good fortune to survive a childhood as a Jewish refugee in war-torn Shanghai, with my father interned for most of World War II in a Japanese concentration camp, as my mother and I fended for ourselves under the brutal Japanese occupation. Each one of us, aware of the unearned miracle of our survival, has sought to give something back, to leave the world a bit better for having been here, whether by pursuing the path of justice and human rights, or by engaging in literary and artistic creation, or by encouraging basic biomedical research, or by building enterprises sensitive to the needs of the global economy. It seems fitting that Michael J. Fox called his autobiography Lucky Man, and especially fitting that today's commencement ritual, symbolizing your academic survival and that of your families, should take place in the stadium where nearly 70 years ago Lou Gehrig called himself the luckiest man on the face of the earth in the great farewell speech that he delivered from home plate after receiving his fateful diagnosis of terminal ALS disease. "I might have been given a bad break," Gehrig said, "but I've got an awful lot to live for." If Lou Gehrig could count himself lucky, then everyone in this stadium can celebrate the wonder of what each of us has been given. In part, of course, I have in mind the portals that will be opened by your degree from NYU as a world-class institution of higher learning. In part, I have in mind the privilege and excitement of living at the dawn of a new and brighter era, graduating as you do today, exactly 250 days before a new president takes the oath of office.